Hey, welcome back to the dumbest modeling channel on all of YouTube, Pit Stain Hobbies. Well, the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few, or the one. But a lot of people building this thing, a lot of people have trouble with it. I just actually was watching Phil on Sprueverse give an update on his Enterprise second prize, since he's also on a second one. We should all call them second prizes when we tank the first model and just get another one. So we have been working on this a bit. I know there's not been a video in a while. We've been doing other things on the channel as well. We got these Partworks builds we're working on. I know, real modelers look down the brim of your glasses at me. Oh, you're just screwing things together. It's fine. They're fun to build though, so there we go. And how else are we going to get a giant Ecto 1? But we want a giant Enterprise refit. And we have, if the Star Trek people are not watching the other videos, we have a new feature on the channel called the Ian Screwed Up stickers. Catch me saying something wrong, doing something wrong, just any kind of screw-ups in general. Like, subscribe, comment, okay? And then email me in the description below, and I will mail you a sticker. Pretty much anywhere in the world at this point. These stamps I have will go to 180 countries or something like that. But that said, we've been working diligently on our saucer section, and we've got the fit pretty damn good. Not too much of an overbite or an underbite. A tiniest bit. You can see that white, tiniest bit around the edges here. But also the model's going to be up like this, and we'll be looking at it, at a slightly downward angle. You're not really going to notice the very minor, fractions of a millimeter of protrusion, but I am going to do my best. Some of these we could just kind of smush them in when we glue it, and it's perfect at that point, pretty much. I'm going for as few flaws as possible. We've done some final massaging back here to get our updated Shapeways impulse engine in there. And it fits. Oh, come on, camera! It fits rather nicely. Some of that gap is not a gap; it's an optical illusion from some black Sharpie marker I had on there. So I'm going to get this thing light blocked and primed, and we will have some more going on there. We did paint our little officer's lounge, and this little thing in the side there. That little round cylindrical thing with the holes in it, that was actually kind of like a little terrarium. So we put some foliage in there, and I put a little blue SMD behind it to give that. You're probably not going to see it through the tiny officer's lounge window, but it's good from far and far from good. That's kind of the theme for some of the interiors on this. I think, well, actually, my Arboretum came out fantastic, in my opinion, for my skill level. And we just got the neck here. We were just mocking up the neck near the impulse engine just to see if we'll need to do a massaging. We might need to do a little bit of strategic filing right here to get the... Jesus, this thing's not going to go... This thing's going to fight me too. To get that to go in properly, we've got our second Shapeways 3D printed bridge because... I just brute forced the first one and snapped a giant chunk out of it. But this is all primed up, light blocked, so that's good. And okay, everyone wants the show. Here we go. Let's get here. So if you notice how easy I can take this off, it's because I did hog out all of the pinholes just a little bit. That's how we actually have a better fit around the edge. Is by opening up all these holes a little bit. Some of them aren't perfectly lined up with the pins, and it kind of can set things a kilter. Off kilter? Yeah, there we go. Just like me. Okay, we're going to put that down. Look at all this. We've got a whole bunch of LED strip in here. We've got them all laid down near the windows, around the rec deck, which I believe is a little proud of this, and I was getting a bit of forceful feedback trying to push the lower saucer half over it. We may need to address that, or we may just be able to beat it with brute force and clamp it down and glue it and be fine. But either way, we've got strips all around here. We've got a few strips in here to light up the windows in the lower saucer. And if you can see, we've got one strip there right above the officer's lounge. And let's just see what we get. Let's make sure all of our wires are still twisted together. Come on. Let's do this. Got our power supply at 11.8 volts because these are 12-volt strips. So, clippy. And contact. Woohoo! That thing, I mean, it probably looks bright on camera, but dear God, this you could light your bed. If this was a chandelier, it would light your whole bedroom. Very bright. Very bright light. And now when you look through the windows, you're going to see harsh hotspot lighting. And to deal with that, we finally broke down, and hey, guess what we did? We bought more stuff for this model. Like, it wasn't expensive enough. Yeah. There we go. Got some other bits and pieces in that bag. We got the laser fire 3D, whatever they are. The laser fire Lexan, polycarbonate, acrylic, whatever. Laser cut windows to shove in every hole. I was going to do windows with, like, clear UV resin or canopy glue or whatever the stuff is. They got solar res, microcrystal clear, you get a million things. But these windows come actually with paper on both sides of them. So you shove them in the holes, a little bit of, maybe I guess a little bit of glue, and you shove them in the holes. And on the back of the window, we can actually sand these down a bit very carefully to diffuse the light from these bright LEDs, because we do have them right up close to the window because we want all the stuff to light up really well, but we don't want to see hot spots. So we're going to use the Laserfire 3D laser cut acrylic windows, I believe is the name, and just Google. Maybe I'll put it in. I'll put a link below in the description to find these little doodads. Otherwise, this LED strip was all provided with our tenant controls kit. Yes, the board of 40 wires. This thing's intimidating, and oh boy, yeah, a lot of wires, lots of wires. So yeah, hoping. Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna overload anything. What we're gonna do now? What was I gonna do now? I forgot what I was doing. Saucer, windows. More lights. I got to get the navigational and strobes and whatever they are. The green and the red and all the little white ones. We're going to get those installed in the upper saucer. We're going to get this engine painted. At least light blocked and primed. And then we've got to work on our impulse crystal and that lighting so that we want to get the upper saucer done. We want this thing all set and done. To do the little lights, I've decided I'm going to go with fiber optics. Is this the size? Let's see. That's it. So we've got this 1 millimeter fiber optic. We got plenty of it, and I'm gonna cut a little length of it, shove it in the hole, put some UV resin in there, and cure it. And I'm gonna leave a good chunk of this sticking out of the hole outside the saucer, so I can get paint all over it, and I don't care. And when we're done building the model, I can snip it off, and then sand it down just perfectly, and we should get a nice flush light on the outside of the saucer. That should be nice. For the RCS thrusters, I'm going to use the kit supplied clear parts because they really do spread the LED light very nicely. And we're going to use those clear windows in there, and we'll have to mask those. I believe I have a masking set with window masks from HDA Model Works. So, or was it Mask Designs? I don't know. It's something I have there has window masks in it. Not that you want to mask every window in this kit one by one. That would be a flippin' nightmare. And that's where we're at. So we're back on the second prize. I know some people have been asking, when are you going to get back to it? But either way, I'm going to get to work on some of these lights around here, and we will be right back. Okay, quite a while for me, but just a few seconds for you. And we have our first RCS Thruster in the upper saucer. We used the stock Polar Lights little clear part. They're a little tricky to get in once this is all assembled. You may need to clearance. You may need to clearance this opening a bit. That's why you see this black blob. I repainted some light blocking there. And then I glued it down with clear UV resin, cured it with an ultraviolet flashlight. The LEDs I'm going to be using for these are Evans Designs Mega LED. They're pretty substantial. I don't have enough to do the top and bottom with these. I might order more of these. Otherwise, I have some slightly smaller 3528 yellow SMDs from HDA Model Works. Again, I'm lazy. I buy all the pre-resisted ones as much as possible that can go, 9 to 12 volts and upwards. But yeah, let's see how this thing looks. And then I did glue down the LED also with clear UV glue. Not using any crazy glue on these because we don't want the haze of doom. And there we go. Our light is lit. Let me get these little fellers out of the way. And let's grab our wires here so you can see the results are pretty damn decent. My LED go off kilter a little? Yeah. Oh no, there it is. There we go. It's just so bright in here. It's hard to see. But nice results, good and bright. And yeah, pretty happy with that. That should look nice. I just got to get some more of them. Let me turn off these giant overhead lights that I've got going on. Let's see what we get now. Yeah, that's better. Yeah, looks a lot better. I mean, when you're blasting it with, a bajillion lumens, the camera's not. This plastic part is actually a little bit inset over here on the sides, but it'll be fine. No worries. I might have, I should have maybe sanded the edges a little bit to get it perfect. But that being said, no going back now. We'll be back. Okay, all the RCS thruster lights are in. Here, let me turn off the garage. There we go. Get those. Very nice. Okay, those mega LEDs. I mean, the camera blows them out a little bit, but yes, they are nice and bright. We've got a metric crap ton of wiring in this thing already, and we haven't even gotten our navigation or strobes or anything else in there. Cover your eyes. There we go. We're back. Okay. That's where we're at right now. RCS thrusters are in. I got to start getting all the other little lights in. I'm going to start putting fiber optics in all these little holes. We painted our Shapeways 3D printed impulse engines. Look at that. Look at that deep panel. You don't even need to panel line this. Look at how nice that is. Because we blacked out the back of it. And this material that they're printed from, whatever resin it is translucent. So it's quite nice. I mean, we light blocked it. No lights coming through there. Nope. She's good. Ah, very nice. Super smooth. I did hit it with some 1000 grit sanding sponge before I primed it. Just because, and it looks absolutely lovely. So I'm going to put that back on the little pegboard. Keep that in front of the fan. Want that primer to cure fully. And now we've got more LEDs to be installing. I've got these little 1206 whites. Here, 0805s. These are what I'm going to use for up here and the back two over here. And conversely, the same on the bottom saucer. So we've got a bunch of those. And then we've got 0805 green and 0805 red for our port and starboard navigational lights. And these 1206 white, I'll probably use those for the bridge. And then we've got some bigger, or are we going to use these 35? Oh, these 3528 yellows. I don't want to order and wait for more lights. I'm going to try these on the bottom saucer. I'm not going to glue them in place, but I'm just going to test them and see if they light up basically as bright as these. The bottom saucer I'm not as concerned with. I want the side thrusters to be lit properly, but the bottom thruster, as long as it's lit, it's fine. I wanted these to really pop on the top. So I put the big Mamma Jamma Mega LEDs there from Evan Designs. He's funny. He obfuscates the actual model number of the size of the LED, which I find a little crappy. He has good products. They're high quality. Everything works great. But he could just say what number LED it is. I mean, it's pre-wired. You're paying him for the convenience of him wiring everything up. I think it's some sort of protectionism thing there with not putting the actual model number. Whereas HDA Model Works, they're just like, right here, it's a 3528. You can go on Amazon and buy 3528s that are unresisted for a hell of a lot cheaper, but you gotta resistor them yourself. Okay, enough blabbing. We're going to get to fiber optic, 1mm fiber optics and all these other holes. I already got these back two done, and I already snapped one. Lovely. You got to trim them down a little bit so they don't get banged around. Let me just show you. Here we go. Let's zoom in a bit here. Here we go. So we've got this one we put in. Well, this one we put in, and it was actually about that long. And at some point while I was putting in my LEDs for the RCS thrusters, I must have banged into this and snapped it. Fiber optic is a bit on the delicate side. So there we go. So basically what I'm going to do is after I put these in, I'm putting this much in just so I have something to hold and control. Then I'll just snip it down and leave a few millimeters of it exposed, so when I'm done painting, I can flush cut them, and they should look absolutely awesome. Okay, well, we got a hell of a lot more wiring to do. And this is just the top saucer, and that's not even the bridge. The bridge needs some amount of LEDs shining out the front to light up the registry. And then it needs a strobe in its roof, and then it needs some blue light going out the back windows near the airlock. Lots of wires, lots of LEDs. Why did I decide to build this thing? I don't know. Oh my God, outside. It sounds like the Mutara Nebula out there right now. I mean, thunder, lightning, very, very frightening. But either way, we'll be back. If we're not right away, it means we've lost power. I'll see you in a little bit. Okay, so we've made some progress. We have two 0805 white SMDs UV glued here. The UV glue, honestly, it's your best friend. Solarez, whatever brand you like. Amazing stuff. I'm using Mr. Resin. It takes a little while to cure, partially because it's, I guess, a slower curing UV resin, and partially because my UV flashlight came from Harbor Freight Tools. I initially bought this thing to find cat pee. Oh, yeah, I know. The kitchen smelled funny one day. I knew what it was. That being said, I did get a bad one from HDA. I'll contact them. It ran for like 30 seconds and then just bzz, it just fizzled out and met its maker. We're going to put our last white nav light in the front of the upper saucer here. Then we got to get a red and green, or a red and green, or red and green. I'll look at the instructions from Tenant Controls, and we'll get those in, and then we'll test everything at 12 volts, and we'll see if everything lights up, which it should. And then I'm really curious how many amps this whole thing will pull with all of these LEDs in here. Right now, this one little light is pulling 0.001 amps. So 0.1 amps is 100 milliamps. 0.01 amps is 10 milliamps. And 0.001 amps is 1 milliamp? Is it only pulling 1 milliamp at 12 volts? Again, I could be running out of stickers very soon. I don't know enough about electrical. I know enough to be dangerous. That's about it. Either way, we're going to get this in, then we'll get our red and green in, and we'll hook it all up and light her up and see if she chooches. And I'm sure she'll chooch, because Scotty's on board. We'll be right back. Hey, hello there. UPS interrupted with a delivery. Oh, we've got even more stickers now. We have our hologram stickers, which you've been seeing. We have a new batch of glitter stickers. And for you people who like to put stickers on your white basement fridge, this is a clear back sticker. Perfect for beer fridges. The text is black at the bottom, so it should be on something lighter colored, such as a refrigerator. There we go. Okay, aside from me selling free stickers, Jesus, they are the easiest things to give away. We all love stickers. If you grew up in like the 70s, 80s, 90s, I mean, that sticker machine at the supermarket, oh, so addictive. Okay, we've got progress. Aside from the bridge, all of our upper saucer lighting, phasers, yeah, I should probably, yeah, probably, yeah, I should do that. But we got the base coat on our impulse engine. Look at that. Look at that detail from the 3D printing from Shapeways. Like, it looks like I've panel lined it, but I have not. That's literally just Tamiya Fine Surface Gray Primer. And then for the white, you want to get a really smooth finish on this model, and I'd recommend this. Mr. Finishing Surfacer 1500. It's not just like Mr. White Surfacer. That comes also like that. The higher the number, the finer the paint finish is. Now, this is not a gloss paint, but it is. Here we go. It's just dead smooth. I mean, it feels like you've gone over it with 1500 grit wet dry paper. Basically, that's the numbering there. We started painting our Impulse Crystal from Shapeways also. This one's nice because you don't have to do any masking on it. You just paint it up, shove the lens behind it, and pop it in, and you're good to go. That's a nice little thing. Okay, okay, everyone wants to see it. Fine, here we go. Engage. Yeah, I know, wrong captain. Holy mama. Yeah, that's bright. Bright light, bright light. And nothing's going to blink because we don't have it hooked up to the controller. But there we go. All of our beautiful RCS thrusters are beautifully lit. Got our red and green and white navigational lights. Look at that. Oh, this really, it's very, geez Louise, that is so bright. Oh my God. I'm feeding this thing 1 amp, and it only takes as much power as it needs, according to my friends, who know a lot more about electrical stuff than I do. It's pulling 0.834 amps. That's kind of a lot. Yeah, kind of a lot of amps. And then we're going to do much less lighting in the lower saucer. I'm literally just going to put a couple of LED strips here and here to light the windows on the BC deck area. And then we're going to put RCS thrusters and navigation. The nav lights, we only need 3 nav lights. So just the red, the green, and 1 white one in the front. So we'll have a lot less lights in here. So this will probably bring us for the saucer, and then we got the bridge going to have a strobe in the top of it. It's going to have some blue light in the back near the airlock, and then it's going to have some spotlights coming out that front window to light up the registry. Oh yeah, we're going to add friggin' phasers, I guess. Might as well, there's a wire for it. Yeah, we'll be a little over an amp just on the saucer alone. Okay, just the saucer is going to be about an amp. The rest of the ship, other than there's plenty of lights in those nacelles are pretty well lit too. Dear, did I buy a big enough power supply? Let me check. Let's see what we've got here. Okay, so this is the power supply that I got from HDA Model Works. And this says 12 volt, 2 amps. That's all we're going to say right now. Hope for the best. Well, we can always just power it with the 10 ampere here. But yeah, we might have to get something beefier than this. I'm honestly not sure if the Tenna control board, I don't know what its upper limits of amperage are, but with the Tenna board, most of the input positive, most of the input power for all these lights is coming straight off of the main power lead from the AC adapter. And the Tenna controls board mostly switches the negative leg of the lights to control them. So because of the resistors and the power's already gone through the LEDs and they've taken all the amps they want, I'm thinking it's going to be fine pretty much. We could probably even put more lights, but I'm going to reach out to Ralph Tenaglia at Tenna Controls just to pick his brain a little to see what he thinks. But plenty of people have been using his products for many years, and I've never heard a single complaint. So I'm assuming this thing's built like a tank, and the board can handle all the juice that we need it to. Okay, well, what are we doing now? Okay, I'm going to get some lights in the lower saucer, and then we will be back. Okay, purely because everybody else covers this, we got our strips down. We do a little hot glue right there and right there. I do that mostly for strain relief, so that if you accidentally yank on the cables a little bit, the hot glue holds her in place. Then we did a little bead all the way around the perimeter of some CA glue to hold those in. And before I go any further with lighting the bottom of this thing, I do need to sand off all the paint around the edge here. The pins I'm not nearly as concerned with. I'll probably use a little epoxy in the pinholes, but around the edges I do want to try to use my proper, plastic melting, like Tamiya cement type glue or something more potent potentially, but I think we'll probably stick with Tamiya cement for the most part. I have a slower curing one as well from Mr. Hobby. Slower curing just gives you time because the Tamiya extra thin just evaporates so quick. Doing a huge surface area like this is difficult and tricky. We'll be right back. Okie dokie, everybody. There we go. By the book, Captain. Hours can be days. Days can be hours. This thing's taking years. No, not years yet. Lower saucer has most of its lights in. We have the 4 RCS thrusters with SMDs. We've got the red, the green, and the white nav lights in there. We got a couple strips here to light up the BC deck from below. We have to put in a couple of LEDs for phasers. I'm going to be using these little lighthouse LEDs. If you can see, they got a little skinny long neck on them. So we've got the perfect size drill bit, and we're going to cut off, I don't want to turn this upside down, but those two little nubs at the front. We're not lighting the side phaser banks. It's just I've never seen the Enterprise fire out of all 3 banks at once. That's more of a next generation type trick. So we're going to light just the front bottom and the front top phaser banks. Then we still got to wire up the planetary sensor dome down below. We're going to have to get that light blocked and primed and get some LEDs into that. We really just need a few. We just need 3 LEDs shining out. I might just use some standard old dumb 3mm or 5mm or something like that. Quite simple LEDs. Just using SMDs for the sake of using SMDs. Not really necessary all the time. I like them because I can get they just I like the light they put out in certain applications versus a standard old Radio Shack back in the day LED. But yeah, these little lighthouse are standard LEDs. Here, if you want to see a little better close up, I don't know, everyone probably knows about these already, but that is a lighthouse LED. Get it? That's why they call it a lighthouse. It's got a little lighthouse on the top of it. And those will fit through the hole perfect. And we don't really need to mask them. We're just going to leave them sticking out. And then when we're done painting, we're just going to sand them back down ever so carefully and not try to ruin our finish to get a nice bright pop of phaser light. I was thinking of using fiber optics and some stuff, but I'm just overthinking it at that point. I'm just going to jam a few LEDs and drill a hole and bam, they go in. Other than that, we do have to neaten up our wiring at some point. Surprisingly few circuits go into the saucer section. It's basically one circuit for all the main lighting and the RCS thrusters. Then I believe it's just one circuit for all the nav lights. Then there's one circuit for the top strobe light. I'm not quite sure on the floodlights coming out of the bridge and the planetary sensor lights. That might be another circuit, maybe. Not a ton. It's pretty impressive how few wires might actually have to go through the metal tube into the base on this thing. And since I have two kits, I'm probably gonna like attach two bases together to make like a really long base. I'm not sure if that's gonna help with the balance or not, or it's gonna make it look better, but I'm going to give it a whirl. We'll see. Worst case, I hate it, and I don't do it. Or I buy some really super-duper fancy base. But that's it for now, everybody. What was this, part 7? I don't know. This is going to be like a 45-part build, the way I'm going. But I am making progress. It feels good if you get over some of these creative humps and slumps that we'll end up in from time to time. I rarely get that with most models. I rarely end up in a slump where I'm not excited to work on it. But that's what happened with the Enterprise refit. It's a very daunting model to build. If you're going to try to tackle this beast, I wish you luck. It's very rewarding when you see one all completed at Wonderfest or something. They're amazing. Or even on YouTube. I mean, it doesn't do it justice on camera sometimes. You got to see these things in person. But I'd suggest, if you're one of those one model at a time type of people, and there's not a ton of them out there. I used to be that way until I started building this. And I needed some distractions. So those, the part work models, the Leopard 2A6 from Agora, and the Fan Home Ghostbusters Ecto 1. Those are fantastic. They're straightforward for the most part, simple, screw it all together. I add a little, clear coat, flat clear to it, and they're very fun to build. They're very relaxing. They're not taxing mentally like this thing is. I'm blathering on a bit, but yeah, this is just like a psychology session because we're building the refit. Anyone watching this video may be building it now. Or maybe planning on building it, and you've seen my frustrations, and I don't filter myself quite as much with this model as some of the other great builders like Phil at Sprueverse, Boyd at Trekworks. You hear the very subtle, well, it's a bit of a finesse involved. That means this thing doesn't want to fit together, and Phil, you could just kind of tell this thing's pissing him off sometimes, and it's fine. I don't know what's dinging on my computer now. But that being said, we will return to this. I think progress may accelerate a bit on this model because I did accomplish a lot of lighting in the saucer. The saucer's quite daunting. There's no part of this that isn't. I've got my entire shuttle bay built and lit and wired at least for all the lighting. So that's a big hurdle. The Arboretum is done. That's a hurdle. Got the Officers Lounge done. That was another little hurdle. And, we've already dry fitted the secondary hull and the pylons, and we've figured out the magic sauce for that. Go back and watch the previous video if you want to see how we make that whole thing fit together without any cursing or plastic hard or massive amounts of brute force and epoxy or any of it. it's fitting together. It's pretty damn nice. About as nice as it probably could fit together. After that, the pylons aren't much. The neck isn't a big to do really. It's gonna be those nacelles are quite tricky since they're split right down the middle. You've got to get things mounted in them in both halves and then sandwich it all together and pray to God everything fits. But again, lots of good tips coming out of other channels. I watch everybody's builds. World of Wayne, he's also building one of the refits. I don't know where he is right now with it, other than I think frying Arduino boards left and right because they can't actually drive, I think, all the LEDs. He's trying to get them to drive. But yeah, okay. Well, thanks for watching again. We'll beam you up next time. Adios, everybody.